portal's open and it's very quiet.
The portal's open and it's very quiet, and there is an obvious follow-up question of how's this system resolved on other planets with these levels of dysfunction? On other planets with these levels of dysfunction, how do they handle this situation of karmic applicability, timing of karmic applicability? How do they do it on other planets with these levels of dysfunction?
I feel the question going up.
The question goes way up. Maybe we can have the other question.
Maybe. The next question comes from a viewer named Justin, who says, "Hi Lynn, wow. With the events that have happened in the last few days after you recorded this in July, I'm just blown away. Feels like we just moved farther away from feeling the instant karma." Interesting. It feels that a lot of people know we need to change and want to change, but those in power are tightening their grip and use the fantasy distraction to keep the masses down. And then the question, can you list out daily actions we can take to ensure ascension on a personal level?
I would like to answer this question. Okay, someone is stepping up to answer the question, and they're from that room of angels and godly presences who are charged with the responsibility for the planet as a whole. And they're saying, we really want to clarify that no one can ensure their ascension on a personal level.
Yes.
There is no such thing as ensuring ascension on a personal level.
Yes.
There are things that can be done to increase the odds of ascension on a personal level.
That's true.
But there is no way to ensure that. And that presence feels like there should be a way, but that there isn't. Like he very much like to give you a fail-safe technique, but there is no agreement under divine law that if you do this one thing, like a rule of thumb, that then you're in.
That feels true.
There is no such thing, but they can give you rubrics to apply in your life. And they're saying, first things first, you spend most of your time, most humans in societies in this era spend most of their time at their day job. Whatever their day job is, that's where they're spending the bulk of their awake time. And so to really consider very strongly that it really matters what you're doing in your day job.
That's true.
And if you're not doing something that's really strong good guy action, then chances are you're part of perpetuating the status quo.
That's true.
And the status quo is what's destroying the planet, which you can tell just statistically. Here is what's happening. Biological annihilation is occurring more than 50% of the way through.
That's true.
Destroying all other life on Earth. That's destroying God's planet, not humanity's planet. And that's what the status quo is doing. And
that's true.
Continuing to amp up. Some estimates now are that we're already 60% of the way through.
That's right.
So that's bad. And so to not participate in the status quo in your day job is crucial. And so to work for a good guy organization or to be self-employed in some kind of good guy endeavor is crucial.
That's true.
It's a little tricky because even the good guy organizations are poisoned by the corruption that's rampant.
And that's another presence in the same higher dimension room who took the microphone.
Thank you. But the question is not where does this stand with regard to the ideal. The question is where does this stand with regard to the available options.
Yes.
And so to find the best good guy organization that you can find and work there, employ your skills there. Or if you're the entrepreneurial type, to work for yourself, which some might argue is easier to control, but it takes a lot of self-discipline to be a successful entrepreneur.
That's true.
And many people don't have it, and that's okay, and they're not trying to criticize.
No.
And saying, if that's just not you, if that's not your thing, then to find a good guy organization and work there, and that it's okay to change careers. And once we start to live coherently with our stated values, we find that it is not expensive to live.
That's true.
So this is segueing right into other things that will really help to ensure your personal ascension.
That's what they're saying.
And that it's important to live coherently with our stated values. And so stop consuming, opt out of the consumer culture. We all have enough. When we stop buying, we look at our wardrobes and we find we have enough clothing to last us till the end. You know,
That's
it's
true.
A-okay. Don't get fat. Which we shouldn't do anyway. Just keep exercising. We shouldn't change. Like once we're of adult size, we should remain that same size till we die.
That's true.
That's how bodies are designed to be.
It's the same godly presence saying it.
Thank you. So stop consuming. Stop eating meats and dairy products. Stop eating factory farmed foods. Definitely at least stop eating factory farmed animal products.
That's true.
And to become vegan, or if you want to have a couple chickens in your backyard for your eggs, have a couple chickens in your backyard for your eggs.
That's true.
And they're cute.
That's true.
Obviously, get your energy through renewables. Don't participate in the fossil fuel industry, at least not for your electric power.
That's true.
And hopefully not for your transportation either. Try to get electric devices. And these channels don't drive electric.
No, that's true.
Share one hybrid vehicle.
That's true.
And we have it on alternating days.
That's true.
And these host lives live out in the country, and there aren't electric charging stations.
No, that's true.
And one of us drives long distances for her equine healing practice.
That's true.
And therefore, it's not an option.
No.
We'd be calling AAA on a daily basis, or every other day.
That's true.
AAA would not be happy.
No.
But the point is to start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. When we stop participating in consumerism, just stop buying things. Don't go to stores, don't go to malls. Participate not at all in the entertainment industry.
That's right.
Just opt out of all of that. We find we save a lot of money, and then we can in fact afford to convert to electric vehicles and
That's
renewables. True. Unless you live in the country, in which case you're going to have to convert to hybrid vehicles, unless you already have that.
That's true.
But the point is to live ethically, to live coherently with our state of values. And so that's a really important point if you're going for a personal ascension.
That's true.
No hypocrisy. It's the same godly presence is continuing and saying, now there's a third thing to consider. There's what you do in your day job.
That's true.
How you're managing your resources.
Oh, that's true.
And what you do for your volunteerism. And if you are doing nothing for volunteerism, that's a big problem. And you really, really need to kick it into gear with volunteerism.
That's what he's saying.
And right now, given the state of affairs on this particular planet, and he's pointing to Earth, and the way he says this particular planet implies that he's got responsibility for a wider umbrella.
That's true.
Given the state of affairs on this particular planet, your volunteerism probably should be affiliated with the environment, and with, like, now is go time, it's go time.
True.
2 years ago, there was a scientific study published in a peer-reviewed journal, and it was a Mexican scientist, Professor Ceballo, who led the work.
That's right.
And this was 2 years ago, and he said, the situation has become so bad, it would not be ethical to not use strong language. And that was 2 years ago, and in this last 2 years, things are crazy bad.
That's true.
For the environment. That's what this gentleman is saying.
That's true.
The bee populations are just being destroyed.
That's true.
And much more. Water, air. There's a video about one of the Greenland glaciers melting, and it's just floodwaters.
That's true.
This is all happening now. So still that same godly presence is continuing and saying we would refer you to a peaceful, non-violent organization for civil disobedience.
That's true.
And if you like Extinction Rebellion, great. If you would prefer some other peaceful, non-violent organization for civil disobedience, pick it.
That's true.
But that it's go time, it's time to rebel. And in a time where bullies are running roughshod over everything else, then those who stand by silently are tacitly siding with the bullies.
That's true.
And it's noted at the end of the life what was done to stand up for the oppressed, and in this case the oppressed are other species.
That's true.
Does this answer the question?
The question was, can you list out daily actions we can take to ensure ascension on a personal level?
It's really a wonderful question, and so obviously your day job needs to be for an ethical organization.
That's true.
Your volunteerism needs to be really strongly proactive, and we believe that presence is saying, we believe civil disobedience, it's time for civil disobedience, it's time to rebel, because the governmental structures have failed, because you can these are the decisions that they've made. You can see them playing out in the world, and that's what
true.
they've decided to do. And so that's a failure, that's a fail. And now, has the human species failed? That's an open question. And has each individual failed? Again, that's the open question that we're attempting to address right now. And so for the individual, it's really go time. It's time to rebel. It's time to publicly stand up and say, this is wrong. We've got to change this. And if you live in a city, there are groups that are available that you can join, and then it's more fun.
That's true.
And you meet new people who are thinking about things the way you're thinking about things, and it feels much better. And if you live in the country, that's not an option. You'll have to find another way to do it. But what you do in your day job, what you do in your volunteerism, and then living coherently with your stated values, don't be a hypocrite. And with those three things, then when your time comes, as is inevitable, you're going to have something to say for yourself. When your guardian angel says, is this your signature? And it always says, here's your soul contract. And what did you do on your sacred vows to spirit? What did you do? You'll have something to say.
That's true.
And it will help. Does that answer the question?
There's this little wiggling follow-up question. It has to do with the day job, and it has to do with how can you tell if an organization is an ethical organization?
Oh, I know what they're pointing to.
Okay, good.
They're pointing to an effort that this body-mind was affiliated
That's
with
true.
back in the 1980s, working as a CPA, a partner in a CPA firm.
That's true.
Back in the 1980s, and was part of a group trying to legislate change to corporate charters so that the charter of all corporations would have a simple sentence in it: first, do no harm.
Yeah.
And with that in the corporate charter, the philosophy of the organization would be steered away from the destruction that we see playing out around us.
Yes, that's
and
true.
that idea got about as much traction as you would expect, which was none.
None.
But we did try.
That's true.
So, first, do no harm is not a part of any corporate philosophy. So
That's
probably you're
true.
going to have to assume you need to go not-for-profit.
That's true.
Unfortunately, and then choose your organizations wisely, because some of them are just fully corrupt also, but at least they've got a mission statement that they're purporting to live to.
That's true.
Where the money comes from matters, and so if you find yourself in a not-for-profit and it's starting to smell fishy,
Yes.
investigate the major donors and see
That's
how
true.
many of them have links to the fossil fuel industry or the poison industry or the
That's true.
pharmaceutical industry or
That's
one
true.
of the big destroyers of the planet. If they're tied into the military-industrial complex, and that's where the money's coming from that's feeding this not-for-profit organization, then I've got some bad news for you.
That's true.
That the mission is not what it purports to be. And then that circles around to hypocrisy, and how
That's
participating in
true.
hypocrisy is super bad on checkout day.
That's true.
So that presence is saying.
Oh.
And they're trying to be colloquial when they said super bad on checkout day.
Yes,
They
that's
think,
true.
now I'm really
Hip.
mingling with the natives.
Yes.
Somebody else is saying, bravo, bravo,
Yes. Oh, bravo.
oh, bravo. Meaning that was very well done in terms of interdimensional communication.
Yes. From the perspective of the presences up there.
Thank you.
Yes.
So there is a perspective of the presences down here, and saying, we really appreciate this, and we know that we also want to be following those who are also living coherently with the stated values, and we trust that that's the case. Is it? And they look up.